Hello, Power BI community. This is the July edition of the Power BI Monthly Update. I'm Jason Himmelstein, Principal PM Manager for Content Strategy in Microsoft Fabric. For more information on the topics in this video, check out the update blog. The link is in the video description below. Let's go ahead and get started. Power BI Reporting. Customize your reference layers in the Azure Maps visual. Recently, we've been bringing you a lot of improvements in the Azure Maps visual, including reference layer support for a variety of new data formats. This month, we're excited to announce several more improvements to the reference layer, including CSV support, new customization options, and dynamic URL sources. Let's take a look at a demo from Ria and Hugh on how to customize your reference layers in the Azure Maps visual.
Thanks to a lot of close collaboration between the Azure Maps and Power BI teams, we've been making a ton of improvements to the Azure Maps visual lately, both in terms of availability, things like security and data residency, or enabling Azure Maps in embedded, and in terms of actual visual formatting. And on the formatting side, one of our recent areas of focus has been the reference layer. We've been doing a ton of work here, and you may have seen that we now support a bunch of new data formats. Well, this month, we're shipping even more improvements to reference layers. That's CSV support, new customization options, and dynamic URL sources. So let's talk through some of these. The first one is pretty straightforward. CSV files now join the ranks of GeoJSON, shapefiles, WKT, and KML files as supported file types for our reference layers. So you can add them the same way that you upload any other reference layer, and that's in the reference layer card in the formatting pane under this data source section. So you can see I've uploaded a KML file, but you can do CSV files now as well. I'm going to leave this as a KML file, and the reason why is because I want to show you a little bit of formatting for more than just points. Because on top of that, for all of our reference layers, you can now format their shapes from inside the formatting pane. And you can see that here, where there are a ton of additional formatting cards for shapes and points and lines, and you can format them separately, adjust their colors, their fills, even the line width or stroke width for the points, lines, and shapes. And so if I want to make this circle green because it represents the parks within a certain radius from the University of Seattle, I can just do that. And I can do that right in Power BI. So I think that's really convenient because it's not like the reference layer data that you're uploading is actually going to have those colors or line weights or what have you. Usually, that's all just the raw data, like point or geometry coordinates. So now you don't have to go into your files, into your KML files, and try to put that formatting there. You can just format the data in Power BI itself. And lastly, for those of you who need your reference layers to change with time or some other data-bound condition, you can now provide a dynamic URL using conditional formatting. So we've already had this upload a URL button here, and you could change the file that URL points to, in the sense that if you wanted to upload the same file to the different files of the same URL, you could do that to have it dynamically update, sure. But now you can instead use conditional formatting to put a measure here so that the URL itself changes, which lets you use custom logic in Power BI to determine the reference layer URL that the Azure Maps visual is going to use to draw that reference layer. So for example, if you wanted to load in different reference layers based on the university that I've selected in a slicer on the side, I could do that. And then I could switch between, the University of Washington and Seattle University or UBC and so on. And so I can write a measure that lets me select which URL ends up being displayed in the data source. So that's the major improvements that we've made to Azure Maps this month. Thank you so much for all the interest you've had so far in the Azure Maps visual. We are still working really hard on the visual, and we hope that you're finding it useful in visualizing all of your geospatial data. So let us know what new additions you'd like to see, or any other improvements, and we'll see you soon with even more updates.
Power BI Modeling. The enhanced row-level security editor in Power BI Desktop is now generally available. With this editor, you can quickly and easily create row-level security roles and filters. Simply choose Manage Roles from the ribbon to open the editor. By default, this will open an easy-to-use drop-down interface for creating and editing security roles without having to write any DAX. We heard your request and have added the ability to use DAX Query View while live connected to a published semantic model. With this release, you can write DAX queries with DAX Query View when live connected to a published semantic model in Power BI Desktop. We have 2 demos to share with you. The first one is about the new enhanced row-level security editor in Power BI Desktop, brought to us by Emily Lisa.
We're excited to announce the general availability of the enhanced row-level security editor in Power BI Desktop. This editor allows you to seamlessly define row-level security roles and roles within Power BI Desktop. I'll show you a quick demo of how to use this editor. In the Power BI Desktop ribbon, select Manage Roles, and a new window opens up. To create a new role, select the New button. And now I can name this role. In this example, I'm defining a role named Central. Next, I'll select the table I want to apply a row-level security filter to. And in this example, I'm applying this filter to the sales territory table. Under Filter Data, I can use the New button to start creating my roles. I want my roles to meet the conditions that the region Central, and I want to add another role on the condition that says the country is United States. I can also switch to the DAX editor, which pre-populates the expression for the roles I just set with the default editor. I can make changes to this rule with DAX. I can even decide to take this out completely and write it. And as you can see, the editor has an autocomplete feature known as IntelliSense that helps you with writing formulas. So in this case, I can write country again equals to France. I can also validate this expression to make sure it's correct. I can also revert any changes I've made by clicking the X button, which takes away all the changes that I've made in here. I can also switch to the default editor if I want to go write my rules all over again. You can save your changes, and you can close the window when you're done. You can find more information about the RLS editor in the official Microsoft Docs.
The next demo that we have is from Zoe Douglas, showing us how to use DAX Query View when live connected to a published semantic model using Power BI Desktop.
2 popular requests we see in the feedback shared on DAX Query View are finally possible. First, when modifying measures using DAX Query View, you now have the option to update the model with multiple measure changes. Here I have had Copilot suggest some new measures, and I can now add all of them to the model with one click. Second, running DAX queries with DAX Query View is now available for published semantic models when you are live connected in Power BI Desktop. Use DAX queries to analyze these published semantic models as you author reports. To live connect in Power BI Desktop, you can go to the OneLake Data Hub, choose one of the published semantic models you have access to, and click Connect. This creates the live connection. And now, on the left side, you can see DAX Query View is available. In Live Connected Reports, Table View is not available, so now DAX Query View can fill this gap by giving you a way to view the data in the model, in addition to analyzing the data before you start creating visuals. Here, a sample query is already entered, so you can simply click Run to see the data. Quick queries from the data pane, tables, and columns will generate more DAX queries for you. Right-click any table to not only see a data preview, but also column statistics can give you a table profile. Each column has their own column statistics based on their data type. Text columns provide basic counts, mins, and maxes, while numeric columns give median, average, and standard deviation. And finally, date columns provide insight into the range the dates cover in years, months, and days. Model measure DAX formulas are not available to be viewed or edited in live connection reports, but you can still use Quick Query's Evaluate measure to quickly start your analysis, allowing you to then add appropriate group by columns or filtering. Even though you cannot edit the existing measures, you can still create query-level measures using the defined syntax of DAX queries, even in Live Connect, to give you all the tools to analyze this data exactly how you need. And you can always use this DAX formula to create a report-level measure by copying and pasting the DAX formula to a new measure in the report view. These report measures also can be quickly used in DAX Query View by using the Define with References and Evaluate Quick Query. This is because report measures always have to be defined in the DAX query to be evaluated, as they are not actually part of the underlying semantic model. If you already have a Live Connect report created, you can open it in Power BI Desktop and use the DAX Query View. Here I have a Live Connect report to a direct link semantic model. So when I run this DAX query, it's getting the data stored in the OneLake. And this existing report visuals, DAX queries, are easily surfaced in the DAX Query View by using the Performance Analyzer. Copilot is here to help not only explain DAX queries or DAX topics, but to write DAX queries, such as showing some of the measures by country and year. So try analyzing your published semantic models in the new Direct Lake Storage mode, import, or direct query using DAX queries today. Thank you.
Power BI Service. Storytelling in Power BI, the new export to PowerPoint dialog. To reduce complexity and drive more clarity, we've merged two options to export to PowerPoint into a single dialog. You can now choose between embedding live data using the Power BI add-in for PowerPoint and exporting the report as images from the same dialog. We hope that this change simplifies your experience. Power BI developers. New update for field parameter feature for custom visuals. Source field parameters is a new property in Data View Metadata column that identifies whether a query field results from a field parameter resolution. Can originate from multiple field parameters, this property will list all the related field parameters. This new update is available with API version 5.10.0. Power BI visualizations. We have many great visualizations and new visuals in AppSource this month. Power BI new visuals in AppSource include Icon Map Pro, Stack Trends Visual, Smart Grid Map, Multi-Level Matrix Zerpa, Sand Key Diagram, Waffle Chart Maker, Waterfall Chart, and SPC Visual. New visualizations include Linear Gauge by PowerViz, Drill Down Map Pro by ZoomChar, and Power Gantt Chart by Nova Silva. Power BI Paginated Reports. You can now bind your paginated reports to gateways with a REST API. This will allow paginated reports to connect to on-prem gateways without requiring users to go into the UI in the Power BI service and update the gateway. We've also introduced a new experience to WebAuthor paginated reports. It's not just an update to the look and feel, but we've introduced a whole host of new capabilities. You can now define parameters, create headers and footers, and add page numbers to your web-authored reports. Be sure to go check this out. And now we have a demo of the new paginated report functionality with the web authoring experience from Nirupama Srinivasan.
We're extremely pleased to announce the new web authoring experience for paginated reports on the Power BI service. With this new experience, you can now create parameters, add headers, footers, as well as text boxes and images below the table for the paginated report. Let's get started. I'm starting with the regional sales sample dataset in my workspace. I'm going to go ahead and create a paginated report. As you could see, you have an editor and a preview experience side by side. So you could build your report in the editor and view a sample in the preview portion of the screen. Let's get started with creating a tabular report. I'm going to go ahead and pick product category, as well as look at the opportunity. So I want to look at the open opportunities or the opportunity count for each of the products that exist. I don't really want the total opportunity for this. So I'm going to go ahead, click on this, and then remove that portion of it. We continue to support all the existing functionality like renaming columns, which you could do here. If I just want to call this opportunity underscore count, I can go ahead and do that. I also don't like the location of the table, so I'm going to move this a little bit so that it's in the middle and I have enough space on both the left and right. This looks okay to me. Now I'm going to go ahead and insert a header. I have the option to pick a text box, image, or any of these fields like a page number, execution time to the top of my report or as a header. I'm going to go ahead and first add a text box. I'm going to call this contourso.com. This is going to be on every page. I've selected that. I don't like this color. I'm going to stick with the company color. Pick teal. Looks okay at this point. I'm going to also go ahead and add an image, which is the company logo. I'm going to pick the location where I want to add the image. And this looks okay. I'm going to reposition this as well. Now, in the body of the report, I want to add a text box, which just is a note for anyone looking at this report that small and medium businesses are not included. Okay. Again, I want to stick with the same colors that I have for my company. So I'm going to go ahead, resize that, and I want to go ahead and format it to have my teal color. Looks okay. Now I'm going to go ahead, insert a footer. For the footer, I want to have a page number. If you look at the preview, it's on the left. I don't like the way it looks, so I'm going to go ahead, move it to the right. I'm also going to go ahead and add an execution time. I think this looks okay. I'm going to go ahead and create a parameter. So I'm going to go ahead and click on more options, create parameter. Now, why do we even want to create this parameter? With a lot of our reports, not everything that's part of the report is relevant to everybody consuming the report. And so by adding a parameter, we give consumers of the report the ability to look at relevant information by selecting the values that they want. Let me do a demo. So I create parameter. So I've gone ahead and created product as a parameter. It's available here. You look at the parameters here, it has all of these values, but I may not be interested in all of these values. And so I'm saving this report to show you what the consumer of this report would see. So let me say demo report 1, save. When I open this report, see that the product parameter is required to view the report. So say I'm interested only in the products which have 1-year warranty. So I go ahead, select that, and I'm viewing the report.
Power BI Report Server. Power BI Report Server is now included with F64 and above reserved instance purchases. It continues to be available with SQL Server Enterprise Edition core licenses with software assurance. You can get your PBIRS key in the Fabric Capacity tab under Capacity Settings in the admin portal. That's it for the updates. Each month, we highlight a community member that's making a positive impact in our community. Meet Ashish Mathur. Ashish has been a Power BI community member since 2017. He's received over 3,800 kudos, authored over 3,400 solutions, and has over 20,000 replies. When Ashish isn't being active in the community, he's dominating on the tennis court. He enjoys playing just about every day. Thank you for being a valued member of our community, Ashish. Well, that's about all for this month. Hopefully you enjoyed the update. Please visit our Power BI community forums at aka.ms/PBI community. It's the best place for you to connect with others and get answers to your questions. And please, tell us how we can do better. We are listening. We took your feedback and tried to include more demos this time around. Like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks for watching. See you next month.